Okay, here we are. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Sexual Addiction Launch Point. My name is Devon. I'm excited to be here with you. Oh man, I'm still learning all this live streaming stuff and learning what it's like to talk to a camera and all this stuff. So I hope you'll forgive me for all those little quirks and stuff. But I got some exciting stuff to talk to you about today because we're talking about. Oh, wait a second. You know what? It looks like you can't hear me. Ooh, let's check this out. Let's see if. Mess something up. How about now? Can you hear me now? Okay. Let's see. Oh, I hope so. Check, check. All right. Well, think I'm coming through? Gosh, how would I know? Hmm. Well, I'm going to trust it. Here we go. So, like I said, I'm still learning the live stream thing and all that. You're excited to get started on this journey and just learn a little bit more about sexual addiction recovery. Maybe you're just kind of exploring it, and that's kind of who I'm hoping to be talking to here. We're going to talk about something that I find just genuinely fascinating, and that is the way that the mind builds structures. But before we begin, I'll just say that my name's Devon. I'm a pastoral counselor. I work with guys every day. That's what I do on sexual addiction. So we talk through these concepts all the time. I'm constantly helping men develop strategies on how to and rhythms and this sort of thing. You'll understand why that's important later. But yeah, I work with addiction every single day, and I watch guys walk out into freedom. And part of it is understanding what we're going to talk about today. So I am excited to get going on that, and want to start with kind of this concept. Our minds are like galaxies, or you might say our minds are like computers a little bit, and thinking about that can help us an awful lot if we're going to try to conceptualize what it's like to get away from addiction. If you've got an action that you're doing, particularly a sexual addiction, it's some sort of like sexual behavior that you don't want, that you really don't want to be doing, and yet you seem to keep doing it anyway. If you're in that boat, conceptualizing your mind like a galaxy or a computer might really, really help you. And that's because a lot of times when people come to sexual addiction, they start thinking, or they come to addiction in general, they start thinking this sort of thing. They start asking, it's like, well, I just need to have the right kind of like internal tone or something like that. That's just like, that's going to get me where I need to go. Unfortunately, that kind of thinking is ignoring at least half the battle in sexual addiction recovery. If you truly have an action that's like a part of you that you can't get away from in this addictive sort of manner, then just having a good attitude is not going to provide to you what you need to get out of it. Now, I want to be very clear about this. If you take either of these concepts, if you take the structure concept or the attitude concept and you put them next to one another, this concept that you have a very complex mind that's like little parts and pieces and all these things are fitting together, versus the idea that you can just kind of like have a singular concept and motivate yourself up and out. If you expand those conversations out far enough, they can kind of engulf one another because they're so intertwined. But what we're going to do today is we're going to intentionally separate them so that attitude, whilst very important, gets put over to the side here for just a minute, and we talk about what it means to interact with your brain, which builds structures. Your brain is constantly building out frameworks for survival. And so I've got kind of this thing that came to mind. It's like it's a difference between a mind frame and a frame of mind, right? A frame of mind might be an attitude kind of concept where I'm going to get in the right frame of mind and then I won't want to do it anymore. I won't want to act that way or whatever. But then you've got a mind frame, kind of like a mainframe in a computer, right? See, we're creative around here. But it's like you're building out this complex system in your head on how you're going to interact with the world around you. And so structure is really important to me, or is really important to sexual addiction recovery. And I like using the concept of galaxies as well, because something that maybe we don't conceive of very well all the time is that the structures in our brain aren't always working together very well. Let's do a quick example of this. Like, we have our higher reasoning and our prefrontal cortex constantly. It's like we're two people, and right, those are two competing structures. And this is oh my gosh, when I learned that I could switch between people inside of me, and that those people had very particular tones, and of course I was still me, but I was thinking very differently, moving between these two parts of my brain, my survival side and my kind of higher reasoning side. So today, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about the fact that you can have multiple structures in your head, and there's a lot of ways to apply that term, and I think really help out in the long term for addiction recovery. So we're pulling apart the attitude from the structure. We're going to talk about the structure. I do want to say this just very clearly: answers to sexual addiction that come back to attitude are ultimately going to fall short because structures undermine attitude. Okay, so let me give you an example of this. Let's say that you're a Christian like me. Okay, and if you're a Christian like me, you like Jesus. He's pretty rad. You like spend time with him and stuff. And when you do so, we can get that big welling up feeling inside of us, and that just love and passion for Christ. We can get all these revelatory feelings and a real sense of conviction to follow Christ down a particular path. Well, the problem with structures is that the idea is we've been doing something for so long that we are going to automatically try to get back to it. We'll talk more about that later. But here's the idea: an attitude can only be sustained for as long as that which holds it up remains. And so our structures will slowly kind of shift us away from those attitudes, because let's face it, you can't like keep a smile on your face for all time, right? Life is very lifelike. Things happen, and we have bad feelings and good feelings and all these things, and we're human. We deplete in energy. I can't tell you how many guys struggle with just getting too tired. They get too tired, and then in their depletion, their structures take over and they end up somewhere they don't want to be. And so when we talk about sexual addiction and we talk about attitude, and we're talking about these our mind frame, these complex structures, when we're talking about those, we have to just admit that attitude cannot sustain forever. It's not going to go forever. The question is, when the attitude disappears, what holds you up? What holds you up? What keeps you from acting stupid, acting the way you don't want to act? When that happens, right? That's what we're really talking about today, which is pretty rad. I love this stuff because for a long time I didn't think I was understandable. I didn't think I could figure out me for sure. So knowing that I can put my brain together, my brain actually makes sense, that I have a mind frame that can be cohesive, is huge for me. And so my brain can stop being like galaxies far from one another, these complex systems that aren't